I don't know. Did something that my dumb body didn't like. Okay.
They start you off at level 3 too. That's weird?
A little bit weird, but it's reflecting that I guess your character doesn't forget everything all the time. I'd love to know what stats you picked, because I'm like 90% certain that I'd ruin your fucking game.
Yeah, I maxed out wisdom. Duh.
Oh, you did? Okay, never mind. You're off to a pretty good start. I mean, in most Dungeons and Dragons games, wisdom is kind of a dumb stat, especially if you're not a cleric, but in Planescape Torment, man, that shit is useful. Especially because it helps you, like, recover memories, and oh shit, I got close to that bear. Get away from me, bear. I don't have to kill you. I'm hunting.
I like that you can get one of the first weapons you can get here is an arm.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for traditional RPG stuff like plate mail and long swords and shit, you're not gonna find that in Planescape Torment. It's a goofy game. So I hate that there's no quick save in these versions. That's a little bit of a bummer. Okay, so I'm hunting basilisks, because I'm at the point in Baldur's Gate where I can confidently take these things. Actually, you can kill these basilisks early on, just as long as you have protection from petrification. Which, come on, you're a bad person if you don't have.
Memories can give you additional experience points, skills.
Yeah, there you go. High wisdom helps you get memories back too.
Can I look at my memories?
I don't know where that is. Hey, Rebecca.
It's super hard to join the party when you hit circle a bunch.
Oh, well, what shouldn't you do?
Play the switch.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that'll do. So, we got some stuff to talk about. I was planning to do a little chatty chat, because of the Outer Worlds, which I played through and reviewed. And then Bethesda, man, they just can't help themselves. They were like, you know what? We've got the Outer Worlds coming out in a day or two, made by Obsidian Entertainment, the guys who we hardballed into making Fallout New Vegas and then stiffed them over a Metacritic score, had them use our fucking terminally shitty engine, and gave them a year to make what's still the best 3D Fallout game. They're making a game, and we just can't fucking help ourselves, so we're going to announce some real fucking news. We got some firepower. Make everyone forget about this Fallout copy coming out. We've got some shit on Fallout 76. So they announced Fallout First, which is a subscription service for Fallout 76, that for the low price of $100 a year or $10 a month will give you unlimited component storage in Fallout 76 and the access not to private servers. They're calling them private servers, but from everything I've heard, you're not actually getting a server that you control. These are just the same servers that everyone else currently has access to. You're basically just being given an option to play the games with a few friends. I don't see how this adds any strain on Bethesda's end to justify any extra cost. Do you remember playing Fallout 76, Greg?
I played it probably the most out of any of us.
Probably.
Which isn't to say that much.
We played it a good bit. I'd say we put 20, 30 hours in, at least.
We gave it more than a fair shake.
I definitely agree with that. How many games did you join when there were less than 10 players in the world?
Oh, shit ton.
There were a lot of games when there were like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So, why are we going to have to pay a sub fee, except for, no one blurred out the obvious reason, to essentially play what is a glorified password-protected game.
We all know the obvious reason.
Okay, now everyone can blurt it out.
Like, don't fuck up our fucking quests.
Yes.
What the hell?
Because
if you're level 28 and the game says, "Hey, go to this golf station, right?
Mm-hmm.
The pro shop, whatever the fuck it is, right? And find like 8 flowers. You head there, and every single ghoul that's just walking around that area is level 80. How the fuck are we supposed to play this goddamn game? You can't do it. You can't make progress on a storyline quest that's supposed to be like the next thing you're supposed to do because some level 80 asshat came by, went into that area, and now all the enemies are level 80.
Yep, because they are just awful at game design. They couldn't even figure out what, for fuck's sakes, as much as I hate them, what Gearbox did, where they could just scale enemies to, damn it, to the player's level. Right? That can't be that hard to do. Fucking Gearbox did it, and Gearbox is incompetent at everything. But apparently Bethesda is just far more incompetent than even Gearbox. So yeah, one of the things I wanted were private servers. Not even private servers, because I don't want to pay for that shit. I shouldn't have to pay for that. We have Conan Exiles. Rebecca, you played some Conan Exiles. How do you make a private game with friends in Conan Exiles?
Ari did it.
Okay, fine. Ari, how do you do that?
You just start the game and enable co-op.
No, holy shit. Are you crazy? Are you sure you're paying extra money for that, or?
Nope.
How much money did you pay for Conan Exiles, all things considered?
Well, I actually bought it before it was a PS Plus game, so I paid like $35 or something.
Oh, okay. Hey, Rebecca, how much money did you pay for Fallout 76?
I bought a collector's edition, so that's not fair.
I don't care. I'm not trying to be fair.
What was it, 200?
Which has been more fun, in your opinion?
Conan Exiles.
Okay.
Which I got for free.
You know what it is. They're trying to follow the fucking mobile market. And just... I can't even say that. Like, this launch is already a disaster.
It's way worse than like most mobile games.
This is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen Bethesda do.
And this is Bethesda. This is the horse armor company.
Yeah.
So one of the things they're including in this Fallout First thing, which is just... It's on top of everything else. It's a stupid fucking name.
Too.
What is this, fucking Xbox? But what do you expect them to call a game named Fallout 76? Whatever. One of the things they're including is Ranger Armor. You remember Ranger Armor, Greg? What game's that from?
I'm depressed, man.
It's from Fallout New Vegas. How much has Bethesda mentioned New Vegas in the past couple of years? Because they seem kind of mum on that game until Obsidian's about to release another game that's supposed to be Fallout-like. Oh, I shouldn't have cast that in that order. And I'm not gonna, whatever. Fair on Bethesda. It's not like Obsidian didn't take shots. Let's be completely honest here. But, having played the Outer Worlds, this was a pissing contest that Bethesda probably didn't need to get into. And I know which company makes more money. I know which one is bigger. I know which one is more powerful in the industry. I also know, through the virtue of having gotten a review code through Gamer Guides, which company has produced a better game recently. And it ain't Bethesda. So, with a hearty fuck you, Bethesda, let's go on to the Outer Worlds and talk about that, so we can actually get to something good and not feel so bad. I know we're all just aggrieved at the thoughts of how awful the Outer Worlds is, or not Outer Worlds, the Elder Scrolls likely going to be. Remember, they have Starfield coming out before that, so we have an interim disaster to be worried about. But seriously, fucking $100. $100.
Yeah, the price point here is insane. This is a failed game that stores are trying to give away, right?
Yes.
Some fucking stores. And they think instead of like making it more tolerable to the people who've already paid for the goddamn game, they're instead of doing that, they're gonna monetize it.
And the worst thing is, the worst thing is that Fallout 76 even exists, and the second worst thing is that they're trying to charge for it again. But the third worst thing is there are fucking people, and I swear it has to be a cult at this point. There are people that are honest to fucking God trying to defend this game. I was arguing with people on Twitter about it, and I know that someone's wrong on the internet, but I can't fathom what depraved mind, what utter cuck of a consumer is defending Bethesda on this one. Like, the amount of times they lied, the effort they spent in making a fucking battle royale mode instead of fixing the game.
Only fucking cosmetics.
Yeah, and now there's armor packs. Not on top of all the other lies they told us about this fucking game. And to be fair, I'm not that much of a jilted lover on this one, because I'm pretty sure I told everyone this game is going to fucking suck. I'm almost certain it's going to suck, but Rebecca wants that power armor, and I
said no one had to buy it.
Yes, we were very clear about that. Yes, but I wanted to play it with Rebecca, and since the two of us were already suffering, I gave a free invitation to everyone else who was curious about the amount of torture Bethesda would inflict with this miserable offering. Fair enough. I went into it expecting bad, and I got bad. And that doesn't excuse it, because I still gave them $60, and this was a game that was patently not finished. This was not a project that any sane, rational, self-respecting consumer could look at and go, they tried their best. They tried their best. They didn't fucking try their best. They made a goddamn boondoggle. They shipped a fundamentally broken, unfinished clusterfuck of a game, and then, instead of fixing it the way they were supposed to, they fucking developed a battle royale. They fucking delayed a fucking expansion that was going to add NPCs. Fucking NPCs to a Fallout game. That has to be DLC in 2019. Actually, 2020, because it got delayed. But what didn't get delayed is their fucking unwanted, unnecessary bullshit. Fuck you, Fallout first.
That's what you really think about it.
I'm not happy. But there's a bright spot in the universe. The Outer Worlds exists, and this may very well be the best game Obsidian has ever made. Now, I'm still under a bit of an NDA. There are some things I can't do, like, I don't think they want me to stream too much gameplay, although I saw other people streaming. Whatever, I'm going by the terms that I'm aware of. Those are probably influencers that have special go-ahead. So that's why I'm playing Baldur's Gate. Also, it's a bit of a comfort food because, Bethesda betrayed me. So, and I also can't talk about, major spoilers, but I don't think anyone wants me to anyway, so don't have to worry about that. The Outer Worlds is very much like a Fallout game. I'd say very close to Fallout New Vegas in a lot of ways, with a sci-fi space skin, so it also kind of scratches that Mass Effect itch. So if you're feeling a little bummed by Andromeda and by Fallout 76, this might scratch a couple of itches you may have. And that's a very good thing in today's gaming market. There are numerous factions. Now, I will go so far as to say that there are a lot of aspects of the game that are simple. It's not the longest adventure. It probably will run you 30 to 40 hours if you are dead set on doing everything. If you're trying to rush a story, you can probably get it done in a lot less time. That said, there's a good bit of gray area between side quests and main quests. This is an Obsidian game, and there's a lot of crossover between the two. It's I know that the guide I'm going to write, they want SEO, where you just look at the quests and you find the information on the relevant page, very searchable, all that shit, but it's hard to do one quest, especially main quests, without bouncing over to another quest. So that'll be a little bit of an organizational nightmare, but yeah, I'll figure it out. So keep in mind when I tell you all the good things about this game that, there's probably only like 7-ish major factions, maybe 10 or 12 total factions, and there's a bit of repetition. Some of the game elements are pretty simplified, and sometimes that's a really good thing in today's gaming market. So you have a faction system like Fallout New Vegas, and like Fallout New Vegas, you can gain positive points and negative points, and they're not mutually exclusive. You can do good deeds for a faction, and you can get caught stealing or go kill people, and you'll develop negative reputation, and those two exist side by side. So instead of just being a good guy or a bad guy, you can end up with a bit of a mixed reputation. Of course, the game focuses a lot on corporate dystopia. That's kind of the big running thing here. Corporations are in control of everything, and they have such a tight grip over this solar system that has been colonized that there's really not much in the way of external power sources. There are some smugglers. There's like one unaffiliated port ship. There's a planet that's uninhabited by the corporations. It's called the Board. But otherwise, it's a very severe corporate dystopia. And they really drill this into you on the first planet you land on, where, like, just to give some flavor, one character you're told about committed suicide, and they didn't want to file what actually happened. Like, the other people in the city didn't want to file what actually happened because other people are supposed to be accountable for each other. And this wasn't viewed as a human tragedy that everyone was sad by. The corporation would view suicide as him vandalizing corporate property. So, in the case of one person on GameFAQs, if you're a little bit of a butthurt libertarian capitalist sort, you might find some of the humor unoffensive. Just stick to Ayn Rand and you'll be fine. This might challenge some of the things you cherish. There are also a few rebel factions that bridge the gap between just full-out anarchy and more responsible corporatism. Like a corporation that cares about its workers more. But I won't go into the nuance in that. But you can kind of pick and choose sides. And one of the really great things about the Outer Worlds is the quests are all, like I said before, very complex. And it's very common that you will get a quest to do a quid pro quo for one character because they have something that you need. And they need you to do something for them. And halfway through this quest, you will be told about, or you'll be introduced to another faction that wants you to do the same thing, but give them the item, or in other ways, double-cross the original faction. And so you get to choose between those two, and that's, fairly...
Yeah, it's pretty classic.
Fairly classic. But then you'll get the choice maybe to double-cross the second faction, or to actually side with the first faction, but do something to depose the leader of the first faction and replace it with the leader of the second faction. So this is actually the standard for the Outer Worlds, where quests have multiple solutions and several twists in them. So almost nothing is straightforward. Like, there's a few quests that when they're just simple fetch quests, you're like, huh. Because it stands out because they're used so infrequently. Basically, it's the complete opposite of Final Fantasy 15, where all the quests were disposable fetch quests. Yeah, okay.
You have to do 50 of them for that trophy.
Right?
Not that Greg knows, like, explicitly.
Yeah, not that you've platinumed it 4 times.
Yeah. Once in Korean.
Well, yeah, you don't have to read. I mean, knowing the language is not necessary for the enjoyment of Final Fantasy 15. What little enjoyment there is to be had.
Not for that game.
But there are a lot of dialogue checks, and there's less in the way of outright, like, skill checks. Like, I don't remember my strength or dexterity being checked in combat, but skills will be checked all the time. If you want to do a relatively pacifist build, you can get through, like, the final dungeon in the game. I think I killed 2 or 3 enemies, and I didn't even have to fight them. I just was kind of messing around and exploring for stuff and ended up fighting them. You can talk your way out of the final fight. You can talk your way out of almost any fight in the game. There's some wild animals, giant insect things and dog-like reptiles. You're not going to be able to sweet talk your way past them. But most situations, when you're dealing with humanoids, you can talk your way through.
Can you defeat the final boss by talking? Oh, that's kind of spoilerish.
No, it's not that spoiler.
Yeah,
you totally can. I wouldn't say talking, but there's a combination of skill checks you can do to resolve the final encounter in various ways. So, yes, you can do that. You can... I did a build... Well, I should probably explain how this works so it'll make a little more sense. In terms of RPG elements, it's pretty simple. You have attributes, 6 of them: strength, dexterity, intelligence, perception, charm, and temperament. And I don't know why temperament is a mental skill, or like a personality skill, since it affects your health regen. That's a little weird to me, but whatever. It works. But you can only, there's only 5 ranks for each attribute. They range from below average, average, good, high, and very high. That's it. Those are all the ranks of your attributes right there. And at the start of the game, all your attributes are average, and you get 6 points to distribute. And the penalties for lowering any to below average are usually pretty severe. If you like that classic Fallout shit, where you play a really dumb character and talk very good, you have that in the Outer Worlds. Yes.
Just the quest for you, buddy.
You can do that. If you are below average intelligence in the Outer Worlds, you will have that lovely, authentic, old CRPG experience where your character be dumb talk. So I'm glad to see that back. I think New Vegas did that too, though. Definitely old school Fallouts did that.
New Vegas did it a little bit more rarely than, say, Fallout 2.
Yeah, Fallout 1 and 2.
Fallout 2 had to be, the biggest one that did that.
Yeah, I mean, Fallout 2, in a lot of ways, is still one of the golden standards of RPGs when it comes to player choice. I mean, you can be a fucking porn star. Come on. It doesn't get much better than that. You also have skills, and of course, all your attributes affect your skills to varying degrees. It's usually not that big of a deal. You usually want to pick your attributes based on the passive bonuses they give you, like strength will increase your melee damage, dexterity will increase your attack speed, intelligence will increase your critical hit damage. Don't question it, it's just how it is. But your skills are also grouped up into trees, usually 2 to 3 skills per tree. And at the start of the game, you don't invest in individual skills. You invest in a category of skills, like stealth, which includes sneak, hack, and lockpick. And when you invest skill points into that category, all the skills in that category gain points. And you do this until the skills in that category are 50, at which point then you invest in them individually. So it's pretty easy to become competent in a lot of skills, but it's very difficult to actually master many of them. You gain about 10 skill points a level. The max level cap is 30. You've got quite a few skills. I'm not going to count them right off the top of my head, but There's over a dozen, so you're not going to master everything just by flat points. But you can get a lot of stuff to 50 so that most characters will be able to do relatively competent in most things. I think it's a pretty good system because, like, it never made sense to me that your character would be so good at, like, have such a good personality and be intelligent and witty and clever, and you'd be really good at persuading people but not very good at lying. Like, what fucking sense does that make? If you're charismatic, if you're a good talker, you're probably good at lying, you're probably good at sweet talking, you're probably good at intimidating. And likewise with guns, like, okay, if I'm holding a fucking rifle, I can fucking kill anything. But if you put a handgun in my hands, well, I can't fucking hit the broadside of a barn. That never made any sense. So, I'm glad to see that has changed a bit. And every 20 points, natural points in a skill, you'll get some passive ability or perk, which sometimes they're pretty basic, other times they're pretty neat. Like, if you get enough points in lockpick, you'll be able to automatically pick certain locks that only require one mag pick, which is the resource you use to pick locks. You'll be able to do that without expending any mag picks. I think the most interesting passive you get based on skills is for the inspiration skill, which is one of your charisma skills, where at 20 points, which is pretty easy to hit, you'll unlock companion abilities, which allow you to press left or right on the D-pad, and then your assigned companion will perform a special attack. It's kind of weird that that's hidden behind a skill barrier, so some people that don't invest in being personable may never get their companion attacks, but whatever, it's there. It's not that hard to get. And at 60 inspiration, you will gain double the bonus to your skill points that your comrades give you, which is probably a good time to segue into your companions. I don't want to spoil too much, but you have 6 companions in the game. 2 women, 2 men, and a robot. And your companions are way more useful in this game than they are in most games of this ilk. You can take 2 with you at any time, and each companion has a certain suite of skills. They have things they're good at. I think each companion has 3 skills. Like, there's a clergyman who is good at hacking. There's a pirate that's actually a pretty good doctor. There's a engineer you pick up fairly early on, and their skills boost your skills, which makes sense in my opinion, because if you're traveling around with someone who's really good at engineering, you can pool your knowledge with each other and, have a better go of things. And by default, the bonus you get is equal to 25% of whatever the base skill your companion has. And if you get 60 points in inspiration, this goes up to a 50% bonus, which can in total turn out to be something like 25 to 30 points of bonus to your skills based on your companions. And since it's pretty easy to get most of your skills up to 50, that gets you really close to maxing out a skill. So you can see how there's a little bit of build you can do to min-max and get yourself really good at sneaking and diplomacy and having a few things on the side if you invest your skills correctly. So, suffice to say, on my first playthrough, I was very happy to make a character who was good at sneaking, good at dialogue, decent at using rifles, was able to do the whole Fallout New Vegas sniper thing, talk their way out of trouble, hack locks, or hack computers, pick locks, all that good shit. I wasn't able to swing a mace for crap, but you can have everything. But if you build your character right, you can have an awful lot. And I was pretty much able to talk or shoot my way through anything I needed to by the end of the game, which was pretty cool. It's also worth pointing out that your armor can give you bonuses to skills, and you have a perk that can double the amount of skill gain you get from your armor. Some armor gives 5, some armor gives 10. It usually doesn't get too much more complicated than that. So if you have the right perk, you can switch out different suits of armor depending on the situation. If you need to hack a computer, put on your sneak skills armor and get a possible 20-point bonus to your lockpick skill or hack skill or whatever you need. So There's a lot of good RPG stuff that you can sink your teeth into in that game. And yeah, pretty good shit. If you are looking for a Fallout experience, but you are getting depressed that Bethesda isn't going to provide it and they've seriously diluted the RPG mechanics, The Outer Worlds is a good answer for you. As for other systems that you may be aware of...
How timely is that, of all things?
Great. Wonderfully timely. I think it's probably one of the best games to come out this year. Now, granted, I haven't played Devil May Cry 5 or Resident Evil 2. So I don't really feel comfortable calling it GOTY, but it's rubbing shoulders with Fire Emblem for me. It's way up there. So, some other things that you may be familiar with and may be wondering about. There is weapon durability, armor durability, there is carry weight, some inventory management. You do have to get picks to open locks, and I think they have bypass shunts to hack computers. That said, there are no fucking hacking minigames in this. There are no lockpicking minigames in this.
Can't buy it.
Are you seriously pining for these fucking minigames after all this time?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. I'm happy to be done with it. I don't need to play that fucking lockpicking minigame again in my entire fucking life. I did it in Fallout 3 and New Vegas and Fallout 4 and Skyrim. I never need to do it again. Basically, this isn't too complicated stuff. Locks will have a minimum skill that they require you to have in lockpick. Computers will have a minimum skill they require you to have in hack. And if you meet that skill, you can pick it or hack it, depending on if you have enough mag picks or bypass shunts. And the amount by which your skill exceeds the difficulty of the lock will reduce the number of shunts or lockpicks required to actually hack it. So if you're really good at it, you'll be able to pretty much freely hack most things. And you do it just by holding down the square button. And the higher your skill in relation to the difficulty of the lock, the faster you'll pick it. So it does have a little bit of a strategic element when you're sneaking, waiting for that stupid fucking NPC to turn around so you can rob them. That said, you can also talk your way out of most trouble. If someone catches you sneaking, they don't automatically start shooting at you. Like, what the hell are you doing? Then you usually get dialogue options to talk your way out of it. Although you do still incur reputation issues if they catch you stealing, but, you know, it's kind of par for the course. Likewise, repairing items is a pretty simple, straightforward process. If you're traumatized by shit like Fallout New Vegas, where you had to have, like, the right gear to repair the right thing, you don't need to worry about it in this game. Any excess armor and weapons you find can be broken down into weapon parts or armor parts, and then those can be used to repair your armor and weapons. That's it. It's that simple. The more damaged your weapon and armor, the more weapon parts it takes. Pretty fucking simple thing there. Upgrading your weapons is similarly simple. You get various mods that you can use, and they usually do pretty basic stuff like increasing your magazine size or putting a scope on the weapon, changing the damage type from like physical to electrical, shit like that. And in addition to those, you can also tinker with weapons and armor, which generally involves you just going to a workbench and spending money to increase the item's level, which will increase its base stats. That's it. You spend money, you tinker with it, you increase its level. The more times you increase its level, the higher the cost of the next one. And generally, I only ever bothered to tinker with an item till it started costing like 1,000 bits, which is the in-game currency. After that point, I was generally due to find another upgrade at some point, so I didn't really bother doing it too much. So you've got a lot of the systems that you're familiar with in these games. You know, modding weapons, repairing stuff,
How power
picking
gamey
locks.
did you get?
How what?
How power gamey did you get?
Not all that power gamey. I mean, I would keep a selection of different armor on me so I could switch it out to like do different things. But other than that, and bringing on along the companions that I liked the most and had the best skills, that wasn't really all that much I had to do. I don't like my initial build that much. I put points into dexterity instead of what was the other skill? Perception. But there are a lot of perception checks in the game, and on my second playthrough, I'm going to go and invest in intelligence, perception, and charm, because those are the skills that seem to be checked the most often. So, I mean, there's not really any dice rolls that you have to worry about, or min-maxing you have to do. You have a respec station on your ship, and you can spend money to respec your character. I think it's 500 bits for the first time, and 1,000 for the second time. But I only used it once, so that kind of takes a lot of the pressure away. So you're not constantly worrying, did I fuck up my character forever? And you can use that to reset skills and perks. So one less thing you have to worry about. Your attributes, though, those are permanent. So pick those well if you can. You also, like I just mentioned, you earn perks. Every second level, you get a perk, and there's 3 tiers of perks. Invest, or get 5 perks in the first tier, and you can go to the second tier, do that the same time, or do the same thing with the second tier. You can move on to the third. Pretty simple stuff. These give you nice things like carry weight, or they'll reduce the amount of noise you make when you're sneaking, increase your max health, shit like that. Things you should be familiar with. It's actually, they give you so many good perks when it comes to carry weight that I didn't really find myself missing strength. Like, at the beginning of the game, it was a little rough, but then once you get your stash and your ship and you're picking the perks like strong back and you are just being able to carry like 50 pounds of extra shit. I think my end carry weight was 340 kilograms and my starting carry weight was 80. So it boosts pretty rapidly if you invest the perks.
This coming from someone who is known to just take everything from everywhere.
Yes, I'm a pack rat, and
if you all didn't know that.
Yes. These were very welcome to me.
He will go to each location in Fallout and just strip everything.
It's like, for the guide! Or something.
You don't need the 10th piece of cement, Nathan.
Yes, I do.
He's not even as bad about it as I am.
Yeah, she's way worse. Well, a good thing about
and he's like, "Do you really need that?"
A good thing about the Outer Worlds is, like I said, the systems are pretty simplified. So even when you're towards the end of the game, do you really need that like fucking 18th assault rifle Mark II? Not really, yeah. But you can sell it, and you can use the money you get from that to upgrade.
Screws.
Yeah, but they
may come in handy.
They get rid of the need for that to a large extent. You're basically turning all the crap you find into money or weapon and armor parts. And you can put both those things to immediate use, repairing your gear or upgrading it. So, I mean, this game really doesn't reinvent the wheel in any way, but it's got really sharp writing, intricate quest design, lots of player choice, and it's simplified a lot of the bullshit RPG elements that we're used to, that we want, but maybe we don't want to have to fucking fiddle with to the same degree we had to in the past. Suffice to say, it's made by people who know how to make RPGs really well. Who'd have thought? But like I was saying,
the whole New Vegas history.
Yeah.
This makes this even more delicious, really.
It does. Now it's a
fucking Metacritic scandal.
It's a simple game in a lot of ways. If you're looking for the next big revolutionary thing, like the next fucking Dark Souls, you're not going to find it here. If you really want an Obsidian RPG, and you know what that entails, this is your game. One more interesting thing they do with perks. After usually taking damage from a specific source, you have a chance to accept a flaw. It'll pop up on your screen, and you'll get a choice to accept a flaw. Like, if you get hit by primals too much, which are, well, of course, monkey-like animals, you get a chance to accept a flaw that has you afraid of that specific type of enemy, and you'll like have one less attribute point in all your attribute or several of your attributes when you're fighting them. So it gives you a bit of a debuff when you're dealing with that specific enemy. But on the other hand, you get a free perk that you can invest wherever you want. And I think it's actually a pretty good system because you can sit there and go, do I really, like, I hate fighting these fucking things, but are there really enough of them in the game that having a debuff against them is going to significantly impact me? And it's a good give or take that you can consider. There are other ones, like I took too much physical damage at some point, and they offered me a trait that made me weak to physical damage. And I'm like, no, I'm taking that all the time. That seems like a terrible trade-off. And so I just declined it. You have a choice in the matter, so a little bit of extra complexity there if you want it. But you're not forced to accept flaws if you want your character to be pristine. So yeah, I mean, and of course it should go without saying that the game has pretty snarky tongue-in-cheek humor throughout. I mean, this is Obsidian doing some of their better writing. And it's Obsidian, so they're some of the better storytellers in the industry.
If I had a degree in physics, in theoretical physics. I told them I had a
theoretical degree. Yeah.
Physics. They said,
I forgot that guy. Oh, he's so great.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But if you liked Fallout New Vegas, there's a very good chance you'll like this. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't overburden you with complicated bullshit. I did think the combat was a little shallow. You don't have, like, grenades you can throw. You don't have special attacks you can personally use. You just have what your companions have. And again, that's pretty much relegated to pressing left or right on the D-pad while aiming at an enemy. Your companions are otherwise competent for the most part. I didn't really... Like, you can go to the menu and you can set, like, the distance at which they follow you and whether they're aggressive, passive, or defensive, which just determines their terms of engagement. If they're aggressive, they'll start firing as soon as you get detected. If they're defensive, they won't attack anything until you direct them to. And I never switched into passive, so I don't honestly know what that does.
Just stand there, probably. Huh?
Yeah, I'd assume so. If that's the case, I don't know why you'd really pick it, because that, like, I guess
you
you...
need them to get out of the way or not be...
I mean, if you want them to never attack, fine. That's one way of doing it. There are 4 difficulties. I think Story, Normal, Hard, and Supernova. And if you played Fallout New Vegas' hardcore mode, you should already kind of know what Supernova is. You can't fast travel except to your ship. You have to sleep in your bed in your ship. You have to have food and water and sleep. Your companions can perma-die. And then I think it has, like, the difficulty changes of hard mode. For you, Greg, I would honestly suggest that you play the game on hard mode. I found it a bit easy on normal mode.
A trophy.
Oh, yes, there's a trophy for hard mode and supernova mode. But just for your first playthrough, you might want to play it on hard just to get a bit more challenge out of it. Like I said, I found it pretty easy. Although I'm not sure hard mode would really affect that too much because, like I said, you can kind of walk through dungeons if you know what you're doing. So, yeah, it's a pretty damn good game. I had 2 big worries going into the end of this year, and that was the Infinity Engine games and the Outer Worlds. And it looks like both of those games are actually pretty good. I mean, you gotta take the Infinity Engine ports for what they are, but the Outer Worlds is pretty good game. I think it's sitting at an 86 Metacritic. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. If I had more freedom, I might have given it an 85, but, the 5-point scale is what it is. And I thought it was definitely closer to a 90 than an 80, so that's what I went with. My score isn't weighted, but I was oddly worried, and I've said this a few times, but I still don't know why I was concerned that I'd be like an outlier, like everyone else would give it a 7 and I'd give it a 9. But I had it written up the day before, and I saw the first reviews trickle in. I saw GameSpot give it a 9, and I'm like, okay, I guess my opinion is not going to be all that standout.
You weren't a filthy dissident.
Yeah. Some assholes gave it like a 70 or a 65, but there's always got to be someone that's going to give it a score for the clicks.
There's always a whiny baby.
There's always the outlier that, yeah. So, and who knows, maybe they just genuinely didn't like it. I could see it because the combat is kind of simplistic. If you like being able to sneak and talk your way out of combat, and you view that as a viable alternative to just shooting everything in the face, if you don't mind doing a stealth build and picking off enemies from afar before switching to a shotgun and running up close to finish off the fight, then yeah, you'll probably like the game more. If you're trying to treat it like a stupid first-person shooter, it doesn't have that much depth. I should also point out that the game has its own version of VATS. They call it Tactical Time Dilation, TTD. It's basically VATS. You press a button, you have a meter, and you will slow down time. And you don't get to pick the body part that you want to target. You just have to actually manually target the body part. But when you're using TTD and you target a body part, you can cripple that body part or do extra damage, whatever the case. And I play kind of a sneaky sniper, so when I wanted to ensure I get hit off, I would use TTD and take a shot at an enemy head or at a machine's glowing weak point, and it was pretty satisfying. Unlike Bethesda, Obsidian figured out that you should design enemies in your shooter game to actually be shot at, which is an underappreciated aspect of game design for whatever fucking reason. But the enemies in the Outer Worlds were clearly designed to be shot at. It is competent enough as a shooter. It's not fucking Doom, but it's definitely better than a lot of Bethesda's efforts when it comes to, say, Fallout 76 or even Fallout 4. Enemies move in ways that are conducive to you pulling off headshots and hitting what you want and generally having a fun time shooting things. So, which seems like it should be an obvious thing, but we've played enough games to know that that is sadly not. So yeah, I give it pretty high marks. Like I said, if you like Fallout New Vegas, you'll probably like this. And I highly recommend that you pick up the Outer Worlds if you feel that Fallout itch, or to a lesser extent, that Mass Effect itch. And if you're thinking, dear viewer, of giving Bethesda any money at any point in the near future, go give Obsidian money instead. Okay? They deserve it more.
Definitely, they deserve it way more.
And
I still can't believe Bethesda has the guts to fucking do that.
I think
it's all about corporation and greed at this point with them.
I think if you buy this Bethesda first or whatever the fuck it is, you should be immediately castrated because your genes do not need to be.
Whoa.
She said it.
Because you're clearly too stupid and do not belong.
Don't infect our gene pool with your bad consumer choices.
we got Trump running around here. Come on now.
Oh god, he should have been castrated 50 years ago.
Yeah, he definitely.
I mean, come on. Can you look at any of his kids and go, that's a meaningful contribution to the gene pool?
Right.
But anyways. Well,
he should have been drowned in a bucket.
And like some people have insinuated, I might as well, even though this is fucking ridiculous and childish, Yes, I played Fallout 76. I played it a good bit. I bought it day one. No, I haven't played it fucking recently, but I don't need to play the game every fucking week to see if they unfucked it.
Right.
You know what we were waiting for? Do you want to tell them what we were waiting for, Greg?
What were we waiting for? Some
Private
patch or
servers.
Well, ultimately, but
And they
They
fucked that.
$100 for something that isn't even a private server.
Yeah. So, you know, they're not. I'm not wasting my time booting that fucking game up. Not when they're fucking like this. Fucking ridiculous. Utter joke. And I don't work for Obsidian. I would love for Obsidian to pay me, but they don't. I just got a fucking review code and wrote a fucking review, and I'm writing a guide because I love these kind of games. So you can stop with your conspiratorial bullshit and your fucking whining. Bethesda's a corporation. They don't need you. They don't care about you. You don't have to defend them. They're not your friend. They just want your fucking money. So does Obsidian. But to put my money where my mouth is, I got a review code for free. I have not canceled my pre-order of The Outer Worlds. I want that game on my shelf. Obsidian deserves my money.
Shit,
So,
is that on Amazon or is that on
Best Buy. It's already paid for. So we're good. And if I'm willing to fucking keep a game that I don't need to buy because I have access to it digitally without spending any money, I think that says something. Yeah, maybe it just says that I'm bad with my money, but goddammit, it's saying something. So...
there's a lot of harlots in the beginning of Planescape.
Harlots need a place to stay too. Greg.
Hey, it's the world's oldest profession. Why do you hate working girls?
First of all, you can't help them with their profession.
Yes, you can.
Not that I've seen. Like, am I doing this wrong? I might be doing
Oh, Greg, how could you? Think of the children. What if Sadie were to walk in on that?
Listen,
And see...
all she does is give me fucking advice and info, and that's not what her profession is.
And all that... What if Sadie walks in
Maybe
and
she's
sees
off
all
the
that
clock right now.
cosmic, orgasmic... What was that sex box thing? I can't remember the line they used.
My sex box.
Oh, God, you remember that fucking panic about Mass Effect back in the day?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that was so
fun.
good. Virtual orgasmic rape. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And anyone can do it.
Just...
Where are these...
Like, that shit totally exposed what goes on in this guy's fucking head. Like, this is what he's preoccupied by. Uh-oh, Rebecca, guess what I'm fighting?
It makes me want to check his browser history.
Be like Kurt
Me thinking
Eichenwald and find tentacle porn. Oh no, I was researching it.
I was trying to prove to my family that this is a thing.
Like, okay, Twitter is a cesspool, but it's a very useful cesspool in some ways. Like the ability to catch a journalist with bookmarked tentacle porn on his web browser. And then to troll him about it directly. I don't care how petty it is. There is value in that shit.
Hilarious.
But, yeah. Does anyone else have anything to say about Fallout 76? Any final fuck yous?
God damn it.
I still like my power armor helmet, but I'm a little mad that you can get it so cheap now.
I wonder how much it does cost.
I thought you looked it up and it was like $50.
I did. A lot cheaper than Greg's Mega Man 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Undoubtedly.
Well, I see the helmet right there. Just the helmet for $69. Box Power Armor Edition for the Xbox is $76.
Wow.
Good thing about... I mean, the one good thing about this whole debacle was most of the scalpers that fucking paid for this are underwater.
Yeah. That's
So, at least Bethesda fucked them, too. I mean, my ass needs lube because of what they did, but at least they fucked somebody who deserved it as well. So, I don't know. I'm pretty worried about Elder Scrolls and Starfield, because they haven't exactly shown that they value the customer experience over nickel and diming us. Between making the Creation Club a paid service, which is bullshit, and the fucking entirety of Fallout 76, just all of Fallout 76. I don't know. I'm a little worried about Bethesda.
Yeah, and yet, if they can manage to make The Elder Scrolls 6 a single-player, non-monetized, fucking not online all the time game, it'll probably be okay for them.
You gonna give them your money if Starfield looks good?
I haven't been following Starfield.
There's nothing to follow. There's a title. It's called Starfield and it's space. I mean, that's all we know. At least all I know. And the Elder Scrolls 6 is pretty much just as developed. It's a logo and some mountains. Looked awfully like kind of that Hammerfell. What's the other fucking place? High Rock? Wherever the Bretons live.
High Rock, yeah.
There we go. Got that vibe going on. I love me some Bretons. They're great. Little half-breed, magic-resistant freaks.
You just like them for the magic.
I do. It's all power gaming, but god damn it, doesn't mean I don't like them.
Yeah.
Although orcs were pretty good in Skyrim, I have to give them that. Oop, I don't want to fight no brown bears. Go away, stupid brown bears. So which is the worst company? Blizzard or Bethesda?
Blizzard.
Yeah, I don't think Bethesda's crossed that line yet.
Yeah, this is just greed.
Yeah, there's this violation of human rights.
Well, they're not violating human rights. They're just willing to carry China's water while they violate human rights.
If you're willing to fucking defend it, then you are doing it. You're responsible.
Well, at least we can all agree that we're probably all keen on BlizzCon coming up. I think it's, what's that? Just over a week away? I thought it was like the 2nd or something. Oh. It starts Friday, November 1st. It's, yeah, just over a week away. Oh, it's going to be so good. Oh, man, I hope it's good. As far as Fallout 76 goes, I actively encourage people to be shitty to Bethesda on the internet. I'm not saying, any death threats or any shit like that, but let them know that they're pieces of shit and that you will not fucking give them your money for this crap. You might be able to affect change. They've buckled before when they've done bad things. Rebecca's got a canvas bag to prove it.
Yeah.
So.
Also a crappy thing where they send their influencers the real thing, but the people who paid money. Nah.
That's super bad.
Do you lose anything from dying in Planescape?
Not really. Not usually. Actually, you can gain shit from dying in Planescape. Depending if you die at the right time, you can gain memories back. So no, you just wake up in the mortuary, usually. I don't remember if you lose any money or not. I can't remember. I don't think so, but you might want to check your before and after gold. So, yeah, Planescape's a very, very weird game where they don't really make death feel like a burden. you for finally playing Planescape Torment, Greg.
Hmm?
I said I'm so proud of you for finally playing Planescape Torment.
Oh, this game's so much better than Icewind Dale.
I figured you'd like it more. It's fucking weird. That's for damn sure. Are you playing Conan, Rebecca?
No,
Are you just chilling out?
playing Portal Knights.
Oh, Portal Knights?
Yeah.
Why are you still playing that? We already got a platinum.
That's what I like to play.
What? We don't play games because we like them. We play games because they got trophies. But yeah, the Outer Worlds trophy list doesn't look that bad. You'll have to complete quests multiple ways, of course, but you can usually save load that. Like, you shouldn't really have to do too many playthroughs to get that, I don't think. So, I imagine you could do that all in one run. Although, I'm not going to do a supernova run at the outset, because I figure should write the guide first and kind of figure things out a little better and then do my supernova run, so I will know the path of least resistance. So, we'll see how that goes. That might be a pretty good platinum worth getting. Definitely seems more likely that I'll platinum that game than Fallout 76. Alright, anyone have anything else to say, or are we done with this little emergency podcast here?
Yeah, that's good. I need to sleep.
Okay. Yeah, back on the 5-day work week. Alright, we'll still have our normal podcast on Sunday as usual, but we will save ourselves an hour of chatter on that. That doesn't mean I won't rag on Fallout 76 on Sunday, too. We probably will. They fucking deserve it. But I have a little feeling that there might be an update to that story by then. We'll see. Keep up the pressure. Let Bethesda know that you're not happy. And we'll see how things go. But until then, see you guys later.
Yep, bye.